and CM Grover and Manjunath. CM Grover is the CEO, and Manjunath, PM Manjunath is the Chief Technology Officer. So both of them were working earlier in Vijaya Bank, and they found a lot of hiccups in terms of their clients or their own banks in managing some of the capabilities, business capabilities needed in corporate treasury. So it is more in terms of corporate treasury, which involves in number one, huge volumes of transactions across currencies, be it any commodities, be it investment, be it import export, be it even hedging. Hedging is a major area where the business capability needs are addressed. So they started working on how to simplify because existing products were so complicated. It took quite long time to learn how to use the product. Forget about actually doing the work in their banks. So that what prompted these guys to kickstart. And their story is also that they were only looking at one or two niche areas for the product. However, as they progressed in the last couple of years, they have phenomenally innovated the product, and they call it innovative treasury as well. It has seamless user experience. That is number one, because these guys were actually using a product in their bank, and they felt that it is not so useful for the business end users to perform their day-to-day work. And not only that, they were unable to actually get benefit out of doing their work. In terms of huge volumes of transactions, there was always a high risk associated with loss of revenue due to either currency fluctuation or due to wrong hedging or maybe a wrong investment based on a very static feeds which are coming from the market. So they started improvising it. Hello, they started improvising these features, and they were able to come out with a product which was very what I should say, provides a very quick um, approach towards a day-to-day function of a corporate treasury man. As I said, mainly these are some of the capabilities. One is in terms of huge currency fluctuations, wherein it involves commodities or investment or import export of any material, be it oil, be it paper, raw materials for paper, be it diamonds, pearls, so many things. Even electronic hardware components coming from Southeast Asia or from East to the West. These were the things that were in their mind, and today they are able to have about 18 to 20 such clients, and they are in the particular what I should say, they are about to break a deal with Mahindra and Maruti. Okay, so they have grown so much. Of course, they have already times with their in their customer list. Snapdeal is using it, and so many other very niche niche companies are using it.
Future group also.
The objective today was we do have two things. One is a corporate presentation where we would like to give you a overall feed. Part of it, I'm trying to do open up the PPT now myself. The other one is in terms of maybe demonstrate one or two business capabilities, and we did share a WebEx WebEx link wherein we attempted to demonstrate capability of currency fluctuation, how it is hedged and stuff like that. I don't know whether Aditya has shared those things with you, but we plan to run through that for about 10-15 minutes. So the first half an hour was mainly aimed at understanding the product, where it can be, placed. Our approach is that we want you to be the sales channel or a promoter kind of a role, wherein you take us to the doorstep of a CFO or a treasury person who really will be doing such works, and from there they will be able to understand clearly what this particular product is all about. But as Aditya said, unless I know what is this, I will not be able to take it much in the market. So I do understand that point of view, and that is why the attempt is being made. In terms of trying to give you the information as to what this product is all about. Yeah. Now, the one of the major things that we always tend to overlook is our competitors. And if you, as Grover says, if you look at any banking or financial product, there are hundreds and thousands of those products available today in the market, be it core banking, be it normal treasury, be it billing payment systems, so many of them. However, in terms of this particular product area, the business capability area, there are only about seven to eight products in the market. Just hold on. So, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Vinu.
Yes.
Okay. So if you look at the the things that we would like to share with you in the next 5 to 10 minutes is an introduction and what makes us a key differentiator in the market. What are the two product modules that we have, and what is our clientele, which will be a summary of things that we would like to know before we go a little bit deeper into the product. So this is basically what I mentioned. That CM Grover and Manjunath started this company, and today, after 3 to 4 years of working, they have the big partners in terms of Ernest and Young and Reuters coming in. KPMG almost in the verge of signing up. Oracle already a partner. Greenback Forex Advisors are a part of the portfolio that they have, and IBM as well. So you have huge partnerships which are available, who can be used to leverage, their infrastructure, their capabilities are at our asking. They can help us in talking to others whom we feel might be happy to see this particular product and adopt to it. So the product portfolio, one is in terms of treasury, the other is in trade finance, and it's more in terms of, as I mentioned, hedging, cash management analytics, rate derivatives, so that it reduces the risk of change of currency or commodity fluctuations in the market where there is huge volumes involved, as I was mentioning earlier. Okay. Now, these of the two, trade finance is quite, I don't know. Just hold on, please. Hello, I'm in a demo. Yeah, I'm doing the demo. I don't know. You need to sort out your login and audio. Okay, I'm going to unmute you. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, just hold on. Harish.
Vinu, sorry to interrupt. This is Manjunath Reddy from IBS.
Yeah.
So please let me know whether you need any assistance on that.
Yes, sir. I think you can take up in terms of Harish is just trying to log in, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to give a corporate presentation of IBS FinTech. And if you can see my screen, we are at the
Yeah.
solution. So can you take it forward from there, Ramanju?
Sure, Vinu. Thank you so much. Thanks for setting up the context, and sorry for the inconvenience in case of any. And good evening to everyone. So as when you was mentioning, I was just listening. Like we have like developed like so many. I hope everyone able to hear my voice very clearly.
I can hear you very.
Loud and clear, yeah.
Thank you. So actually, as you was mentioning, like we have multiple partners where we are going with the market with them, as well as we have implemented with the EY as an implementation partner, and even Greenback and all those things we have done it. Now coming to this slide, so where he was pointing that the solution, which is like innovative treasury, the solution. So as see if you look at it like what is the main impact when you talk about the risk. So the risk is going to be divided into three things. Like one is like a currency risk, which they have exports and imports. One more is the commodity price risk, which they have which they are importing or exporting the commodities. And one more is the investment risk, where they are having the investments in a huge where the surplus amount they're having it, which they're investing, where they need to invest, and what they're going, what they, where exactly they need to invest. So our product caters to those kind of segments, like where exactly like it can work independently only on the money market, or only on the commodities, or only on the currency, or it can integrate it with all these things, and it can work as a one product. So where it covers all this entire gamut of a risk, enterprise risk, what the particular organization is carrying with. So and also you do integrate with any kind of a third party ERPs which is available in the system. So where it says like okay, such a kind of like a SAP or Oracle apps or anything. And also recently we are partners with the Reuters, where we are building APIs, where we are building APIs and as well as integrating with their basis. So where we directly get all the exchange rates as well as the commodity rates integrated into the system, so that you can see the live MTM rates from the system, from the software. Can you move on to the next slide? Yeah. So this is the complete architecture of the like the treasury what we are talking. So where it covers like a first, it covers the contracts, like where exactly when you execute a contract with the against the customer or the customer or the vendor, and actually then the trade happens with your OTCs or with your exchanges. So the trade will happen, and externally post trade, what are all the transactions, what are all the activities happen. So all those things completely covered under the in one product, which is called the treasury. So where we cover up all the dashboard kind of activities which is really required for the CFOs or the C-level people to take the decisions. So that are like okay, profit and losses and the exposures and the NPM calculations and the gaps. So gap is the thing which is very key when you talk about like a hedging. So because so usually if the corporate or the company having the exposures in terms of imports and exports. So and so there will be actually there is a natural hedging happens between the either commodity or currency. So we need to make sure like okay, apart from that, like whatever the net exposure, so that's what we need to hedge it. So that's where the gap is going to be play very critical or vital role in that. And next is like okay, what are the financial functional assets which we are capturing? Like if you look at it like FX, interest rates, commodities, money market, forward, future options and swaps. So all those things we are covering up in our product. So and, and also this product has the capability to calculate the wall, calculate the wall with using a different technology, different methodologies what it is having in the market, as well as doing it stress testing, applying the shocks on your positions, prices, and as well as like a benchmark prices or the MTM prices, and come up with a scenarios, applying a multiple scenarios on your positions and see the impact on your human P&Ls. All those things can be done using this product. As so if you that and also this product and the architecture of this product, who is Mr. Manjunath TM. So he himself got CISA certified. So he knows what are all the controls need to be embedded into the system to take care of the security measures. So if you look at like all the kind of audit trails has been embedded into the system, like and all kind of maker checker concepts, because these people are the ex bankers, so they knows like what are all the nitty-gritties like which has to be embedded into the system to take care of all kind of audit trails, as well as like so make sure like every the security aspects has been embedded into the system. So that's what these guys have done in this. And apart from that, there are various number of reports as of now exist in the system. Some of the standardized reports and a lot of things has been customized to the corporates. So in case any customization is required, so that's a one major advantage what we are carrying with at least our competitors are going to be like a customization. So whatever the company needs, so that's what we are going to provide it. Okay. So if you move on to the next one, like what it says, like it's what are all the things we are having at Psycho? It's this company is, as Vinu was mentioning, it's a multi-company, multi-location, multi-currency, multi-asset classes. So that means, so what does it mean? It's like, okay, in case if the company is having like 10 subsidiaries and 10 subsidiaries having the 10 locations or the spread across the globe, so this product has capability capable to work or fit into those kind of environment. And with the multiple currencies, like okay, in case if the company location is in GBP or JPY or Swiss or US or Mexico, so wherever it is going to be, so this product is already capable enough to handle all kind of it's a geographical agnostics, like wherever it is means they can easily centralize this like and they can install this app application in their locations, and it's easily adaptable their local this one also. And you do have like it takes care of all the asset classes which I was talking about, and it has like all the risk management policies can be embedded into system. It has like what are the corporate policies going to be against to the risk management, so those all the things can be embedded into system. And also it meets all the compliance requirements, so based on like whatever the government is going to give, so those kind of things will be keep on system is capable enough to handle all those things, as well as it also has we also always intact with the those things and keep on sending the updates based on any new regulation or new regulation comes into the system. Can you move on to the next slide? So, so this is the investment model which we are talking. So investment model has a lot of things like okay, so all the investments which are the corporate will be having it like wherever they are going to invest of their surplus money. So all those things can be tracked, can be maintained in the system, as well as they see how much they are going to, how much is the yield of that. Like they keep on consistently monitoring that, and as well as like okay, in case if something is not doing good, so they can always take out that way do some quick decisions because of everything is all the information is available on their fingertips. So yeah. So one more thing, as Vinu was mentioning, there are the two products. So broadly, if you categorize, so one is like a treasury management system, so which takes care of complete their complete modules of like currencies and commodities and money market, as well as interest rate derivatives. The second one is the trade finance activities. Trade finance activities take care of all their like from the all the banking activities will be taken care in the system. So like LCs or BC or buyer's credit or supplier's credit and post shipment loans and PSFC loans, all those things, all this discountings. And so this particular product is capable enough to take care of all the requirements of the banking activities which any exporter or importer do. So these activities, the activities are like some of the places like it's pretty manual thing. So what the people will be doing, like generating letters and submitting to the bank, as well as bank charges, what it's going to be calculated, and monitoring the limits. So these things are pretty manual as of now in most of the corporate. So what they do is like they always maintain in the Excel spreadsheet in case of, even though the company will be having a 3 billion or 4 billion turnover, so it's still they will be using some kind of Excels to track all these things. So now with this particular product, so what the people can do is like it's a complete end-to-end automation, like where the system is like once the punch in the transaction, it takes care of the it takes care of the first. It starts with the limits monitoring, and next is calculation of the bank charges automatically, what the bank's supposed to charge, as well as like it's punching the transaction so that it moves to the MIS reports, as well as generating a letters and reconciliation with the bank statement. Everything will be done at one go with all the means it's almost like a five to six processors which will be combining and we putting into the one place, like where will be it usually it takes care of five people, like we'll be putting it in one place, like where one person enters the transaction, it takes care of all the things. So uh, so this also has both the products as capability to handle like multi-company, multi-location, multi-currency, multi-asset classes, like, and also it takes care of all the exports, imports, loans, and banking activities and logistics also. Uh, so th- this particular product is complete end-to-end automation, like where we are charging like all the where we are I'm saying like, okay, first it starts with the limits. So where the usually like when we're talking about the banking processes, banking activities, first we need to take care of limits. So how much limits we have, whether we are utilizing the maximum enough of benefit of the limits what we have, or whether we need to go for additional limits, or like, okay, how to how to create a limit, like in case of you utilize. So all those things, as well as the cash flow management, what are the cash flows are going to come in, so how much is we require funds, are any surplus funds where we need to park those surplus funds. So all those things can be generated or can be seen from the system, so we're in on a real time basis. Okay, so suppose usually what happens, like you the exporter importer, usually they go with either buyer's credit or supplier's credit to generate a fund. So how effective those funds are, like what is the interest rate they are going to get it from out of it, like instead of going for the buyer's credit, whether they can go for any other sort of a loan, or they just need to block their forward contract, so how much premium they are paying against to that. So all those analyticals so can be generated from the system, so where it will be show it kind of a decision making to them, saying that okay, whether I need to go for a PCFC, like whether I need to go for a discounting or a forward contract. So all those things so can be come out from the system. Okay, so if as I was mentioning, like okay, these are the key differences like which we are carrying. So apart from our apart from our these are the key differences like which we are carrying with. So when we compare to our competitors, so one is like easy of use. If you see our software, like where we, as I was mentioning, like one person can do five times five task at a one place, like which I mean to say is like once we punch in the transaction where we are monitoring the limits and computing the bank charges and reconciliation, all those things can happen in one single screen. So whereas if you compare any of the other competitors, like they will be having a multiple number of screens and there will be a big number of SOPs, like which they need to write, they need to follow those things to make sure that particular transaction punch into the system. So here it's not like that. It's a very simple and very user friendly system, so where layman can able to understand, okay, so what is the software is going to do, at least with the minimum basic knowledge of treasury or trade finance. And implementation, yes, that's a one more major this one which we are carrying with, because we understand the technology and we understand the functional domain. We have functional expertise, like where we can able to understand where we can able to understand them, because we are carrying almost like a 200 years of banking experience with the multiple people working here, as well as like we have 400 years of experience with the multiple technical people working here. We can do best efforts to implement those things in a minimum of 1 month with only the treasury in place, and 4 months for the trade finance and treasury combining together. So this is what the rapid implementation going to be. This is what one more key advantage with us. And support side, you can the support is like awesome, like what we are because usually our product is so user friendly that users themselves they can able to uh, can able to learn very quickly. So no need to give extensive support on that. Like however, any bug fixes and all those things happen at a very the turnaround time is very faster. That's what our clients feedback is.
Okay.
And so ROI can be means it can calculate in a multiple ways, like with the centralized of the software centralization of data and key decision makings and all those things can be embedded into the calculating when we are calculating ROI.
Manju,
Yeah,
I think I will take a little bit from here. Thanks so much for
sure.
taking us through the product. What I wanted to show you guys was, okay, we have all these things. However, in terms of you want to take it to the market, what is the key benefits, or in what way can they make up for a huge return on investment? Like we said, it's a mature product and low cost of ownership, but attached with that, there is a high return on either investment into this software product that we are talking, or in terms of how they can improvise their day-to-day functioning and earn more revenues, more profitability. So we had made certain scenarios, in terms of what can be a demo scene, for the. Are you able to see, guys, Aditya, my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it talks about
So
hedging, right?
I think I shared this email with Aditya as well earlier. What we wanted to do was to build certain business scenarios, whereas when we are doing hedging or an import export or currency exchange, commodity handling, investment, or interest and derivatives. 6 business scenarios where there is a takeaway in terms of using the product. Okay, what basically we want to show is in terms of while doing this work, what are we going to achieve, right? At the end of the demo, we should be saying very clearly we could get an increased revenue or profit earning of, let us say, 20 to 30% or more, or that with this scenario of business, we have achieved a 20% or 30% of higher productivity due to ease of use, because we are having less number of people handling it, more number of business transactions being performed. So productivity becomes more. And also in terms of validating or aggregating subsidiaries, the end client, when we sell this product to a company, they may have multiple subsidiaries who are handling huge volumes of such transactions as listed above. So has it helped them achieve a better productivity while addressing? Have they been able to get more client or customer base, or they able to successfully handle subsidiary management without a loss, or on the other side of it, resulting in, let us say, 50% growth in customer base or subsidiary base? That is the aim of showcasing a business scenario. So for example, in terms of commodities or import export, one of the days I was discussing with a young team here in IBSFintech. They have a client called MMTC or a HDFC, and when these two are having differing currency exchange, like for example into Japanese yen or to a Singapore dollar, or dollar to Singapore dollar and INR to dollar, huge amount of volumes, how this software can actually impact reduction in overall turnaround days. Today, if you look at an average company which uses our competitive product like SAP or anything, they have 50 days turnaround time, whereas by using IBSFintech product, we are able to do it in 3 days, and real-time index will be there, and we reduce the risk by almost 70-80% because the turnaround time is reduced. So we also spoke about how we can, if you put on a 4 quadrant relationship, today the client or the organization where you want to sell this product might be in the lowest quadrant, which is having highest risk and lot of time it takes for reaching that. Now we will bring them down to the lowest risk with lowest time span that is taken. So that is the niche takeaway of this using this product. Second one is, there might be a scenario where there are aggregating multiple subsidiaries. Okay, what we discussed was, like for example, presently each of these subsidiaries might be handling 1 million, 8 or 10 million turnover. So overall aggregation is around 19 million. Okay, Now, by using our product, we are able to increase the overall turnover or aggregated value by almost 40-50%. Like, let us say it grows from 19 to 27 million in the same time, or even less, because most of the time it is done less than 3 or 4 days of aggregation, reducing the risk. And we even have a kind of ROI equation which we are trying to mature, wherein risk is a function of, normally this is quite logical, a risk is a function of exchange value difference, volume, and time. So we are able to reduce considerably these business scenarios. Okay, so this is what we intended in terms of doing a business case. Is there any question at this point of time? Aditya?
Yeah, everybody is able to. They're not muted, right? Yeah, just want to make sure.
You want me to unmute all?
I think everybody is unmuted.
Yeah, so any questions at this point of time?
So we can go ahead.
Okay, wait a minute. I'll take back my.
So
Okay,
we'll get to the demo part, right?
yeah,
After.
yeah. Manju, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Vinod. Yeah.
So the demo, can you, okay, is Harish available now, or you can prepare for the demo, whatever we had, that WebEx demo you have on your laptop as well? Can you run through it? Show it out.
Yes, we do have it. So please share the means give the access right so that we
Yeah.
can share our desktop.
You just get prepared. I'll just summarize in terms of our present partial list of clients and have a few talk with the group. You know,
Okay.
uh, these are the guys who are with us. You know, Snapdeal, Future Group, Indofel, okay, Rosy Blue, and we have Mahindra and Mahindra as well as Maruti coming. These are some of the major players that we are putting it here. Okay, KPMG is also trying to come into our circles. Ernest and Young, all their customer base, they are trying to upsell this particular product, having this particular treasury product having got I think 3 or 4 awards in the last 8 months or so, in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship value and value to business in the country. They have won a lot of accolades. Okay, so today we are in the verge of making a further entry into the market, and so far we had always based our price, the product price, based on cost, which was quite considerably in terms of competitive measures. We were quite, like, let us say, 50 to 60% or even less than that. However, we are moving from that kind of a pricing into a value based pricing, which is like what the client gets, in return for having invested in this particular product. So we are in the verge of making a difference in the corporate scenario, where by you buying this and using it, their productivity, their profitability goes many percentages higher. And so we are going to price our product based on the value that brings in. So Ernst Young as well as Thomson Reuters, they have done an extensive assessment of the product as well, and they are able to map many of our business capabilities on par with our competitors. Plus, over and above, the competition does not have certain business capabilities that this particular innovative treasury has. And that is what we actually presented today, what many people, many products do not have in the market. So we are upselling a product which is actually filling a void in the market. So saying, Harish, sorry, Manju, I will hand over presentation to presenters right to you. If there's any question, please come out in open. Let us have it, or you can even type your questions here. The questions in the webinar.
Already the Arish, the voice is coming from the video, so that video, the voice can able to hear.
It's very.
So we're not able to hear that voice. Maybe you need to mute that voice and speak over.
Yeah. You can,
1 second.
yeah, you can advance to, yeah.
Vinu, can you mute the voice and then speak over?
No, he's going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, so just 1 second. Oh, just give me 1 second.
When we come to the implementation, is it focused basically on the banking domain or any industry? I know these functionalities are available across all the industries, including financial services. But when you say about banking operations like loans and others, and exports and imports, you may or may not have the similar functionality required for manufacturing industry, right?
Yeah.
Because those goes into the respective areas of business functionalities. Okay, if you look into the banking operation of forex or banking operation of your export imports, which typically would be different if you say export and import and at a commercial level. Okay, maybe you may have negotiation, you may have LCs, those things more up from your banking side. But when you come to your duties, assessment of duties and handling of your other functionalities like preparing of your documents like the bill of lading, all those things are more of your logistics side. And if you look into the corporate treasury, as I said, your FX as well as money market, commodities, forwards, futures, options, interest rate swaps, those are all more of your corporate related. So that's I'm a little confused. Is it specific to any financial services company or is it useful for any industry?
It is one answer. A very simple answer is that it is for not specific to the banking and finance industry. Most of the places that we have implemented is in the manufacturing and supply chain scenarios. And to add to it, we have a very close interface with existing ERP systems which the company has. So what basically this does is takes over the transaction aggregation into its hand from, let us say, SAP or Oracle, and be able to do the business capability and hand back the data to SAP or Oracle. So it is yeah. So it is not at all. In fact, we don't intend to actually make huge sales in the banking and financial industry. Our intent is to approach clients who are in the manufacturing, oil and gas, in terms of import export companies. Venkat.
Right, but if that is the case, see, your application is seamlessly getting integrated with SAP, but SAP itself has all these functionalities inbuilt, right? So if the difference is there, the difference could be cost of your license.
Okay, let me clarify here. This exact scenario happened with Mahindra and Mahindra about 8 months back. They have SAP, they have these capabilities, and when we made a demonstration, they said, no, 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 we have all these things. We will just customize our SAP to meet this, whatever you have shown. They took 8 months. They came last month, 15th. They said, I'm sorry, we couldn't do it. We want to buy your package.
Okay, but okay, see, I'm not challenging your questions. Are pretty much straightforward answer. They could not get it and they want it. But my understanding is this tool in SAP, I mean, the applications as well as the process in SAP, they also work, but depends on the implementation. But if they don't want to go for SAP Treasury, perhaps your Treasury module can be plugged into SAP, if that is the case, how long it takes for implementing your component and plug into SAP?
Less than 2 months.
Less than 2 months. Okay. Okay. And coming to the commercial piece, like how much it will cost for a business where they have some subsidiaries with the different countries with the different geographical location with the multi-currency, and the corporate functions and treasury happens somewhere in US. How much it will cost for them in terms of license?
The actual commercial value we will discuss out of this demo. But coming in terms of the implementation, the way we do licensing is one enterprise license. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter which geography it works in at this
Okay.
point of time. So unlike in SAP or in other ERP products where there is maybe geography specific or implementation point specific licensing, we have one global licensing policy.
Okay. Good. Good. Good.
So
Looks good.
yeah, thanks, Venkat. The thing is,
Vinay, just I would like to add one comment here. So actually, as of now, our existing clients who are having it, if you take example of Times of India, Future Group, or Times of India, Future Group, and even Mahindra and Mahindra, which is talking. So and the Himachal, which is recently added. So all those people having their SAP is their ERP. However, instead of that, they are choosing us because of, as Binu was explaining, a lot of uh, the capabilities what we are having it and what we are carrying with the system. In fact, in one of the recent demos like which we have given it, they are already implementing Oracle Treasury. However, they don't want to continue with that. Like they are looking at opportunities for with us to implement our product in their
okay, can we start the demo? Is there any hiccups there? Otherwise, you can share the
Vinay,
yeah,
Vinu, am I audible?
yeah. Finally,
Vinu, what was happening? This is. I was muted at organizer level. So, unfortunately, I was speaking and typing, but then somewhere
okay,
we
Harish.
were disconnected.
Let us not spend time on how we went back, but let us take off the demo right now because we already
Right, you can make me presenter.
we have 10 minutes time.
I can do that. You can make me a presenter, and I will put up the screen. I have already in front of me.
Okay,
You able to? Yeah.
okay. Go ahead. Harish, go ahead, please.
so let's this come up. I hope everybody can able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the scenario is like what we have done is like we have come up with a one use case scenario. So where exactly like we have taken a exposure, and as well as on the top of the exposure, like I'll put up the scenario here. Like okay, this is the scenario. What happens like we have exposure identified, which is like export orders for 1 million. So out of that, like we hedged the forward with the forward contract, which is like 70% of exposure. And then what we have done is like we have partially the exposure rolled over to the next month, like supposed to be in December. However, it got rolled over to the January. So that means like December will be having a 50%. 500k and January will be having 500k. So this is the scenario and partial cancellations. All the scenarios we have taken means all the phases we have taken care in this scenario, and we are showing up a demo here. Okay, so I'm just moving towards. So this is the where. So this is the screenshot where we will capture the exposure details into the system. So this screen, so is it can be interface with your ERP, the company's ERP, and take the details accordingly. So here basically we are taking all the exposures. So exposures can be like okay, export orders or import orders, or like a starts from the export orders and the import orders, and it continues like okay, LCs, preparing LCs, and as well as the and invoicing of that, and doing MIO, all those activities will be interface with your ERP and take those details and consider those things as a exposures in the system. So there is a screen like where we capture in case if we don't do a interface with their ERP. And this is the critical thing is which we are talking is the benchmarking. So which is going to be the costing rate for them, like usually for the particular exposure. What is going to be the, so how much rate we are expecting? Suppose in case if let's assume that you are exporting something to the US. So then, so what is the rate now? Rate is going on like a 67. So what would be the better rate for us? Like in case if this is going to realizing on down the line 6 months. So that's what the benchmark rate going to be, either plus 2% or 1% on top of what the rate is now. So that's going to be best rate for them. So that is what we will take that as a benchmark rate for this particular exposure, and accordingly we'll go ahead and book the hedge deals and all those things will happen on basis of that. So there's the screenshot where we have all the exposures capturing those things. Okay. Now this is the HDL register. So what happens is on the exposure, like what we have identified, which is like a 1 million. So for that, we are going and booking like a 70% of hedging. We are doing it according to our policy. So where this is the screen, like once the dealer done a deal with the bank on the with the counterparty or with the bank, so he will come and enter the transaction here. Okay, so here he will be entering all the details of that. Just now. So if you look at here, this is the this is the very dashboard which is like okay useful for all the purposes, like where you if you want to see what is my exposure, how much I am having in exports and how much I am having in imports, how much I have done hedging, and what is my hedge gap and what is the overall gap, all those things. This is the benchmarking rate and as well as the MTM rate. This dashboard can be generated for the multiple companies or like a single company or like a subsidiary level, as well as at the company level also can be generated, as well as multiple locations in case if you want to monitor for a specific location you can always do that, and currencies, multiple currencies, if you want to do that multiple currencies you can do that, the portfolio and sub portfolio. So this is nothing but like okay in case in under the multiple under the specific location. So in case if you have multiple business units and on that business units, in case if you have multiple sub business units, like if you want to monitor those things also you can always do that with this dashboard. Now if you look at here, like December I have a 1 million which I entered it, this is in thousands. So this dashboard in thousands, so 1 million, and exposure gap is 1 million, and hedge sell is 700,000 which I have done it, and what is the hedge ratio going to be and what is the gap you are carrying with. Okay, now let me take you to that. So here if you look at here like a benchmark rate and what is the MTM rate, and based on that like because benchmark rate and MTM rate consider 0, so that's why it's showing at the same, so there is no PNL involved in that. Now so what I'm doing is now I'm I'm realizing this particular contract. So whereas I'm whatever the exposure what I am having it, so that particular exposure, instead of I'm moving this to the, I think this is moving right, moving the exposure to the extending the maturity of from December this is supposed to be mature. So instead of that, what we are doing is we are moving into the January of partially. Like what happens is suppose you have identified your exposure, which is like a sales order, which is like schedule of shipment going to be like okay 1 million, which 1 million worth of goods. The schedule of shipment is fixed to the December. However, for some reason, the half of the exposure as scheduled shipment is commenced. However, the other half, like which is like a 500k, is shifted to the January. That's what the scenario we are taking care. We're taking here. That means the 1 million is commenced on December. However, another of which is like a 500,000, so which will be moving it to the next month, which is going to be January. Okay, 1 second.
So you're basically splitting the hedge amount into two components to reduce the risk of exposure. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly.
So initially there was a billing for 1 million, which has been split into two parts, and one is being exposed for less amount of time, the other for longer, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, what happens is like again one more order. So one more order which we are creating on this. So like same amount. Now again we are coming and looking at the gap. If you look at the gap now, what happens is because I shifted my one, I split my 1 million of worth of goods shipping from December, splitted that from a part off of the amount, off of the goods to December, another off to shipped it to January. So that's what it showed. Exports like 500k, so which is in the December, another 500k is going to be in January. And still, however, I have done already hedging of 70% on the 1 million. So now, but that is still remains there. So that's why it's showing like the gap is 700k, and get the overall gap which you are going to be carrying it like over hedge of 200k, and hedge ratio has been went up by 140, went up by 70% additional. Now, so these are scenarios like which we are carrying it like on what are the rates we are having the rates, how much rates it's going to hedge on all these things we are entering it here. I'll show you. Now, what we are trying to do here is, if you look at here, I have done a forward contract for a 700k. So out of that, I supposed to hedge only the 70%. So because the 70% is my hedge policy, so remaining it's got like 350k got over hedged. So what I'm doing is that as a dealer, what the dealer is going to do is like dealer is trying to cancel the amount which got overhedged. That means like out of 700k, 350k is trying to cancel it at the rate like which is provided to the bank. So he will enter the rate here, and and if you let me- so now if he is trying to enter the rate, so now if it will show you the what is the PNL for the partial cancellation. That means out of 700k we are cancelling only the 350k. So now it show you what is the PNL going to be for that, and also it will show you what is the vouchers which we are going to give it to the accounting department. It means I'll just pass on here. So now here, if you look at here, like it will show you what is the amount going to be for the particular which will be giving it to your accounting department. So that means no need to enter any vouchers again in the accounting software, or either it can be SAP or it can be any Oracle Financial or anything can be. So for those things, it will automatically generate the files and it will give it to the accounting software so that it's loaded into the accounting software. So that I mean to say this is kind of an interface which will be creating it. Okay. So now, so here, there is one more thing which I would like to highlight. I'll just pause on here. So now, whatever the transaction happens in these things, like usually you need to send some letters, the intimation to the bank, the OTC counterparties. So those things can be automatically generated from the system, as well as the dealers want to print a deal slip and all those things can be generated from the system automatically. Like whenever you punch in the deal, it will ask for the deal slip generated. If yes, automatically the deal slip will be get generated from the system. Okay. Okay.
Anybody
Now what
has
happens is
anybody
next
has
thing
any
comes in.
anybody has any question, you can raise it because we are running short of time, so we will not have time for the questions. Harish, sorry, Manju, can we just hold for 2 minutes? If there is any question, we can at this point of time. Aditya?
Yeah, Vinu, so all this data is entered manually only, right?
No, most of it is being picked up from the ERP software. What it only does is it aggregates, and you can take a transactional call on based on the analytic, do the transaction on this aggregate, and it posts back into the original ERP packages. So there is no much data entry as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Manju.
Yes,
Uh,
that's true.
Okay.
So it only aggregates, back end there is so much of ERP data which is there, and there's so many volumes of transactions. There is high value involved in it. That is where the niche return of benefit of this particular package is. You are able to have an aggregated view of everything, take a decision, implement a transaction which is your decision, and it posts back into the back end ERP systems whatever decisions you have taken, amending the data.
yeah, can I come in?
Yeah, sure, you can.
So I think Aditya, you said it, that we don't enter the transactional data here, and we also want to call this as a more of strategic system. So all the transactional data get captured in your ERP, which is pulled in here. What you are seeing here from December to March, or let's say next year, whatever exposure you have, it can be pulled from there. But the strategic decision is how much to hedge. This is a typical board which CEO might want to look. He comes in the morning and looks that my company has 70% of hedge policy. Am I hedged all the year, next 12 months or 18 months or whatever? Am I hedged 70%? If he sees 70% in the bottom line, he feels happy and he feels okay. Let's say as a CFO, today I feel that I don't want to hedge 70% because markets are moving in my favor. I mean, example, if I am an exporter and rupee the way it is moving here, 68 to 70, I might want to hedge less because I can take some advantage of increasing rate in my favor because I am exporter. So in that case, as a CFO, I can take a strategic decision that next 3 months I do not want to take 70% but reduce it to 50. So this board itself, there are multiple reports like this, but this is one thing which you might want to understand, that CFO can take very quick decision. What he can also do is, the moment he has clicked here, the highlighted stuff is December. On the right side, you see is a mark to mark and P&L. Now this piece is the most critical, where we say we are real-time systems. Real time in the sense, on the top you see all those rates which is coming directly from the Reuters. It's a live rates. At the live rate, it would value all your exposure into today's time. If I convert everything today right now, what is my P&L looking like? So let's say a month back I booked everything at 68, so it turns out to be 6.8 crore in Indian terms, the 1 million terms to be 6.8 crore. Now today if rate is 70, this would show me obviously immediately that you are making 2 lakh extra, which means your whole thing is 70 lakh. So this is a one board which helps CEO, CFO to take the decisions whether to stay at the same hedge level or not. The second thing, I think, if you move forward, Manju, little bit, about 10-15
Yeah.
minutes ahead.
Yeah. Before you move, just quick question. So when
Yes.
you said the hedging of 70 to 50, right? So that you can do it here on this screen, or is
Yes.
there a...
So
Okay.
what happens, Aditya, is this transactions are done with the bank. So you normally the companies have traders who would make a calls to the bank, and they would say that I want to pull out from that 70% that contract and reduce that or close that contract by 20%. So the bank
Okay.
would do that. Now eventually what happens in real world, the bank would send the status report and all the deal slip and everything in the evening. So a lot of data entry happens at the back end level, which normally gets captured in Excel sheets, even in Infosys, I'm saying. So when I say Infosys, I have seen Infosys screens where people enter the data in Excel sheets. So Infosys and all companies do the things in backend. Now imagine if you have those Excel sheet data, you would not get this kind of view and immediately that mark to market kind of thing, because that's never captured anywhere. So this is the where you said it, that it happens outside the system, but here you can enter the data. You
Okay.
can
So
also
if you enter like 50 here, this data will go back to the ERP.
ERP does not require this data, because if you do not have a treasury system in your ERP, you don't need hedge data there. So this
So this will be
stays as
saved in this system.
yeah, this stays in this system.
Okay. Basically, your background accounting entries only goes to your ERP system, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Your day-to-day treasury operations happens within this system, and when you close the deals as well as when you settle the deals, all your accounting entries that get reflected, basically after valuation, then those entries would get posted in your ERP system from here. Maybe you must be generating a file to enter those entries.
Yes, we have couple of ways to integrate this with SAP. So typically it could be the secure files system, or it could be directly the web services which can feed into the SAP directly. And during the implementation, this particular interface is developed. So you also know the mapping of which account it should go to. So you know that comprehensive mapping and all happens during the implementation.
Okay. So where do you have your historical data? So historical data also typically will be sitting in your system, right?
Historical data of hedge and everything would stay here. The transactional data which we have pulled from SAP would move out of the boards the moment exposure is closed.
And what about when you have your valued values as well as your mark-to-market reports, these reports, they need your historical data, so they can run the reports only in this tool, not any other ERP system, I think.
Not in another ERP system. They can run the whole thing here. We also have facility to save the reports, and you have here all the emails and everything. So very basic things are always taken care. You can send the reports from here directly to multiple recipients through the email, or download, or do whatever you want to like to do. So that capacity is there.
Right. And suppose if they have an ERP system, then again they need the two interfaces. One interface particularly for Bloomberg exchange rates and interest rates. So that one has to go to SAP and one has to come to your system as well, I think, because you need the rates as well as your ERP system also needs the rates.
Correct. So I think what happens is when an enterprise has a license from Bloomberg or Reuters, the same license can be used for both the purposes.
Okay.
This is my basic understanding, but I think we need to check there. But yeah, it's the same license can be used.
Yeah, it depends the understanding of a client with the Bloomberg, what type of license they have.
Exactly. You're right. Yes, sir.
Right. Makes sense. Bye.
Okay, I think Harish, Manju, and the team here, I don't know if people are running out of time. Um, uh, I think we can, at this point of time for this particular case, conclude and then maybe take up from here. Is that fine, or how do you want to go? Because we are running.
What was the next thing planned? I mean, is there, because I see there is some more recording. Anything else which is useful?
There are two things, Aditya. One is that this is giving. I hope this gives a broad perception of what this product can do. The nitty-gritties and the details, as and when it comes from the client side, while we talk to them, that can be addressed in next stage. So this,
so I think what we will do, is based on individual level of interest and the questions, we can probably set up one-on-one calls with everyone, right?
That's
so now that everybody is on the same page, then we can take that up. So I'll try to schedule that after talking to each one, as to where they are and how they see progressing with this.
And I have also recorded this. I'm stopping the recording now.